War Eagle, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together and we talk about what's going on in the world of the Auburn family spectrum. Always heavy on the sports here, but if it's orange and blue, it's what we do here on this YouTube channel, on our podcast network, all the content that we do. That's what we cover, and that's who we are. My name is Kyle, the owner and editor of the network and the content in general. And we appreciate you hanging out with us for just a few minutes, even if you can only stay for those few moments, to just talk with us and be with us and kind of just see what you think about what's going on these topics that we're talking about on this live stream, a very late edition, mind you. You never know. This is the advantages of being subscribed and hitting that notification bell, because sometimes we do things a little different. We'll pop in at random hours. It's 9:45 Eastern time. I'm surprised I'm actually trying this late. And we'll see if anybody actually is even on and wants to talk. But I figured I'd pop in here and say hello to y'all. Today's live stream, I thought, would be a little bit of a reaction time to maybe kind of just share some thoughts, maybe hear some of your perspectives on the announcement today that Auburn and Miami have announced they will do a home and home series starting in 2029 and 2030. So that is what I figured we'd talk about. But as always, whenever we get together, there's really anything fair game that you'd like to talk about that we can do so. We can do so. So don't be shy. Let me know that you're here with a War Eagle. Post your city, your state, and your international if you are an international viewer. Want to know who we're talking to and where. And if you're a weird random fan that's in here, that like not an Auburn fan, you're welcome here too. But we'll see. We might give you a little bit of a hard time and just mess around with you a little bit. See a couple of familiar faces popping. Oop, that's the wrong cue card. Want to always remind you ways that you can help support what we do here. The easiest way is by listening to our podcast, E2C Network, the main feed, or the Auburn Roots only exclusive main podcast feed. Those are the two ways that you can. Easiest way, the free ways you can help us. There's also the Booster Club. $1 a month is all that it takes for you to be a part of that and get exclusive content, exclusive inside information into what's going on here on the network and communications and things like that. We already got a couple of Booster Club people here in the stream right now. I believe so. We've also got PayPal, our TeePublic store, which, you know what? I will, in just a little bit, I'll tell you a little something about that going on that might be interesting to you. So that's main stuff here. Smash that like button if you haven't already. If you enjoy this type of content, let's get into things. Felix, what's going on, man? Felix is a member of the Booster Club. Mobile, Alabama is represented here. I love it for the U and the AU. Yes. Can we just start right there? Why on earth are they the U? I mean, I know why they are the U, because it's they call themselves the University of Miami, or whatever you want to phrase. I understand why. It just doesn't make sense to me, and it bothers me. Doesn't it? Like does it not bother anybody else that they call themselves the U? It's stupid. You need an M on your helmet, not a U. It doesn't make sense whatsoever. But all that aside, I think this is some good things here. My niece was just born. Is this like live announcements? Rise Live, right? Thanks for being here, by the way, first of all. If you just perfect health, all fingers, congratulations. Well, that's awesome. I know, obviously not daughter or anything, but that's still special, niece. So that is pretty awesome. So congratulations. You never know what you're going to get here on a live stream. You might get a birth announcement. You also might get random crazy stuff that happens. Speaking of which, okay, I know I've plugged a lot of things already, but just bear with me for a second. A lot of you that come to our Wednesday night live streams. So we try to do a regularly scheduled live stream where everybody knows we're going to be at least once a week. That way, for those of you that are like, oh, I can catch you this night or whatever, you can catch us there on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern time, right before War Report goes on YouTube. So that's kind of some little parameters where you can find us. What's happened in the many times that we've done that, we've had some interesting comments before. Many of you will know the name War Dustbuster. Not going to go into what that means, what that's about. People asked for me to make a t-shirt. The t-shirt's available on TeePublic. The link is in the description. If you want to see it, If you want to buy it, you can get it on more than a t-shirt if you want. I don't know why people wanted it, but I made it for you, so there you go. It is on our TeePublic in the description there, the link down there. Check that out if you want to buy that. All right, let's see what everybody else is saying here. Jack, I love how Presley, but come on, man, wish him the best, but we have to go into the portal and snag someone. Listen, I'm not shocked. And what Jack is referencing here, if you are not aware, is that it was kind of a little bit of a surprise today that a wide receiver went into the transfer portal, which was a little bit discouraging because it was already an area of concern for the Tigers this year. Not that it's going to be a bad position, but because it's going to be one that's lacking in upperclassmen leadership and I won't say depth, but and when I say this, please hear me out. I'm not saying that we don't have quality wide receivers, but when I say quality depth, lacking in quality depth, that just means you don't have Seth Williams and Anthony Schwartz kind of being your lead guys backed up by, so and so and so and so. You're now relying on all those backups and they probably will rise to the occasion. So Jack, I get it. It is frustrating. They got to do what they got to do, and the NCAA made the rules, and they can take advantage of them. It is what it is. Oh, the birth was right before your birthday. That is pretty special. Pretty dang special. And he says, War Eagle to that. All right, tell me what you all think about this matchup with Auburn and Miami. Yay, nay, I don't like it. I do like it. Is it kind of one of those things that when you saw it, you're like, I wish it could have been something better? Or are you ecstatic about it? Let me kind of walk you through what Auburn is expecting in terms of non-conference opponents the next couple of years. So the next 2 years, and each of these are going to be home and away series. So 2 years of these. First will be an away game, and the second one will be a home at Auburn. So Penn State, next 2 years, followed by Cal, the next to California, the Golden Bears, followed by Baylor Bears after that for 2 years, and then then it's the UCLA Bruins. We're running through the Bears. I just now realized that, guys. Like, literally, we're just doing nothing but playing Bears in non-conference the rest of the time. Apparently what they want. But after that, we will go down and take on the Miami Hurricanes, in 2029, down in, I think, what is the Hard Rock Stadium, I think it's what it's called. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that. Followed by an Auburn, Alabama appearance for this series in 2030. So it's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. We need offensive linemen. Yes. Talking about specifically, I agree. I've said it till I blew in the face here on this channel. Auburn's problems were never Gus Malzahn. Auburn's problems were never recruiting. Auburn's problems began and end with the offensive line. Now, those were no longer Gus Malzahn's responsibilities and the mistake that he made hiring. Anyway, I'm not going to go into it, but yes, I agree with you. Don't like Cal. So here, let me. I just realized that I've got a tag on here, guys. Well, that's embarrassing. I had no clue that I had a tag on. That's how little I wear this shirt. Let me tuck that in there. That is how. This California matchup, it is not, for lack of a better term, sexy, right? It's not something that people get super excited about because California hasn't been good since really the mid 2000s, when Ted Tedford, I think, was the head coach there, and they were pushing USC at the time, who was a power, in terms of who was the better team there. I actually really like their uniforms. They're kind of, I think it's dark blue or navy blue with the gold. Looks really good. It's unique. Look, we could be playing a Tulsa. We could be playing a Indiana. Indiana may not be bad. But I think it's not a bad thing. It's not going to be, it's a win over Cal is not going to get you into the playoff, so to speak. It's not going to be your ticket to the playoff. But it will look good if you run the table and you don't have a hard time with them, that you can say, look, we handled, one of the best. And here's the other thing. We don't know what Cal's going to look like in 3 years. They could be really good. So you kind of take a chance on these things when you sign them up. And by the way, this little thing that I usually rest my arms on is kind of making noise tonight, so I'm sorry about that. However, I look at the Presley situation as if he didn't have the talent to do what needs to be done. Well, I wouldn't go as far to say he didn't have the talent. I don't know him personally. I would suspect you don't know him personally, so I think that's probably a little unfair to say that, but that's just me. I don't know that it was talent. I would bet that it's just it's probably a bunch of combination of different things. It's probably related to playing time, I would bet. Most people that leave a team, I need to push this back so I quit making that noise. Most people that leave, it's due to playing time. They don't think they're going to be able to contribute these days. So yeah, I think it's not necessarily talent, as in he doesn't think he can break the lineup. And it's going to be deep. It's going to be deep. Hard to find playing time there. Be a crazy crowd at that game. I'm not sure which game you're talking about. Talking about Penn State? Penn State would be. It sure does make us look good when we get that free win. Rise Life, I think that's stepping out a little bit, my friend. I would not plan on us just running over all these teams, because you want to be careful with that. Do we have a better record at Jordan-Hare in terms of the Miami matchup? I'd have to go back and look. So, and we've kind of talked more about the other things here, but the Miami matchup, we are leading the series 7-4. Miami won the last matchup back in 1984 in a neutral site game in East Rutherford, New Jersey, which was a kickoff game. I didn't know they did kickoff games back then. The time before that, Miami came to Auburn and beat us. The time before that, Auburn beat Miami in Miami. So you can imagine kind of seeing how the trajectory rolls from there. After that point, Auburn dominates a lot because there's only 2 more wins for Miami based off the record at that point. I would bet, based on what's left after that, Auburn probably has a better record at Jordan-Hare. But it's kind of sad that their last win was at Miami and not there. That's exactly what happened with Clemson. Came out blasting everyone. Yeah, I don't think you should take anybody for granted. I'll say that for this Miami game. I look at it as this, and I did a little short video today if you want to hear some more cohesive thoughts and not hear me bounce around on a bunch of things about it. So go check that out on the channel if you're interested. I kind of did a little breakdown. I think that both of these programs are on pretty decent trajectories. I would say Miami is a little bit ahead of Auburn in terms of a trajectory as a program. It doesn't mean they're better, but Auburn's coming down from a hill in the roller coaster ride and is now kind of leveling off, and they're trying to get on like to the little, if you're on a roller coaster, they're trying to get the track that'll start getting you up there. They're not quite there yet. Things like this with losing players, bringing them in, kind of feel like you're almost, but you're not quite getting the train up the track. That's kind of where we are. Miami's kind of been going up the hill for just a little bit. So, but I think what happens here is that Auburn traditionally will get more momentum and go a little bit, even though Miami's going like this, they'll kind of, I don't know, my analogy is terrible, but essentially I think Auburn would pass Miami in their trajectory as a program and probably be a little ahead of them by the time they match up. But I think it could be favorable, and that's why I do like the matchup. The time Miami was good. Let's see. Fact or fiction, Rhett Lashley will be the head coach of Miami when we play in 2029. I talked about that in the short video I did today. And I said my number one takeaway is don't expect to see Rhett Lashley there. Rhett Lashley, let me just take everybody back for a second. Do you remember Rhett Lashley was being blamed for everything with the offense and people wanted him gone? And now look at him. I'm not saying that to say that about Coach Malzahn. I'm just saying it's always funny to watch what happens when people want something gone and when it ends up working out better for the other person when they leave. Definitely did for Coach Lashley. He spent kind of 2 boring years at UConn went to SMU, kind of got a little bit of a head of steam behind him, and is doing pretty well at Miami. Pretty well. I don't think I can't remember who the head coach is there at Miami now. Is it Diaz? Is that his name? Anyway, if Miami continues to do well, but not well enough to have their head coach be sought after by others, I would suspect, which I think probably will happen, I would suspect that there's not going to be a head coaching position open up there at least for another 5 years. So there's potential. When you're at a place for quite some time, there's a propensity for when you have a head coaching position open for people to go back and take a look. Case in point, Gene Chizik. Case in point, Gus Malzahn. So even if Rhett Lashley were to leave, take another OC job or an OC assistant head coach job or a head coach job at a smaller school, there's a probability that he'd probably get looked at for an open coaching position later on down the line. I don't know that for a fact. Just me thinking about the situation. But I would not expect to see a reunion in 8 years because, you've got this season and then obviously many more after that to get to that point. But that's just me. I don't know how y'all feel on that. So don't expect to see Rhett Lashley, but it would be fun though, wouldn't it? Maybe Rhett Lashley is our head coach at that point. There were some people that thought maybe he had an outside chance to come back to Auburn. The only thing that I think kept Rhett Lashley from coming back to Auburn was Gus Malzahn. And by virtue, Gene Chizik. I think the powers that be, as people like to say, were done rehiring old assistants and said, we want something new. And that's what they got in Brian Harsin. So I would say that coaching tree or that pattern has been snipped and is not going to happen again for a while unless there's a really, really fertile tree that can be picked from. So no Rhett Lashley. I do think the matchup's going to be good. Just kind of looking at the trajectory of both teams. I do think that this also is going to signal that we play more ACC or East Coast teams, or I shouldn't even say East Coast, Eastern teams. My gosh, please no more Clemson. Please no more. I'm done. I'm absolutely done with Clemson. I can't deal with it anymore. It's awful. No more Clemson. I just can't do it anymore. So I think most of us are kind of tired of seeing Clemson at this point. And here's the funny thing is, the last time we played an ACC team in a home and home series was Clemson, and that was like at the height of their rise to prominence now. So we called them at the perfect time, and we still almost beat them. I feel like I got to sneeze, guys. I'm sorry. If I do, I'll try to sneeze off camera so it doesn't sneeze too loud. Did you see that Green said on War Report about wanting the coach to leave? He explained it like this. When a coach leaves, the other assistant leaves as well. Felix, I did not. I have not had a chance. I'll be honest with you. I don't get a chance often to pay attention to a lot of other YouTube channels or podcasts because I'm so busy doing my own. And it's not because I don't want to, but by virtue, I can't find the time to do it because I'm constantly here working, which is why I'm appreciative of you and other people in the Booster Club. You can sign up for a little $1. It's in the top of the link there. When I say that, guys, I really do mean thanks to guys like Felix, because I don't think y'all understand how appreciative $1 is even, because it is one less dollar that I have to find to cover the cost of hosting videos and podcasts and stuff like that. So it is very much appreciated, because I think a lot of people see that and they're like, $1 ain't gonna do nothing for him. Oh, $1 does something. But thank you guys so much for that. But so did you see that Green said on War Report about wanting a coach to leave? He explained it like this: when a coach leaves, the other assistant leaves as well. I'd probably have to have seen that to understand that. So unfortunately, I don't know that I understand the question altogether, Felix. But I don't know if I can expound upon that any further there. But back when I was saying, I do think that this will signify further Eastern teams for Auburn past the scheduled ones now. If you look back, you've got a pattern of going out west and playing Bears, but going out west. I think also you've got to think about it in this sense too. COVID-19 has scared a lot of institutions, but obviously sports programs, universities, in terms of the logistics of traveling. What if this happens again? What do we got to do? The good thing is if this were to, not the good thing, I don't know of a good word to use. Basically, programs would be better prepared if this were to happen sooner. Heaven forbid. Again. But I do think that's kind of made Auburn reconsider, should we be scheduling as many out west teams? I think having a out west team once every decade is good. I don't know that I'd pick 6 years in a row to do 3 trips out there. Might be a little bit bad. Oh, Unbeaten Lake. Why couldn't we have scheduled them? I want some revenge. I will never forget the beginning of the 03 season. I was like, I'd heard about this USC team. Auburn teams picked number 1 in the nation. And then goose egg. It was bad. Or the next year was the goose egg, I think. Because then after that, Jim Fife died unexpectedly, and it took Auburn two games to score a touchdown. So Rod Bramblett tells the story, may rest in peace, that he was so scared about doing the Jim Fife touchdown Auburn call, but he sat on pins and needles for 2 games because he didn't have to do it for 2 games after that. But that just made me think of that. But yes, I would love some revenge on USC. How about this? Anybody got any other picks out there you want to see for future opponents? I think Notre Dame is probably the top of my list. It's technically an East team. I'd probably trying to think of some other teams up that way. I don't really want to see Virginia or Virginia Tech. West Virginia would be a fun one to see again. I think I like that matchup a lot. We were supposed to play North Carolina this year. That didn't pan out. That would have been a fun game this year. No, I mean that. NC State, I think, would be a fun little series to do. I think, Ohio State would be fun, but obviously that'd be a tough one to get a win out of these days. I think there's some teams Auburn could look at, but I'd put Notre Dame at the top of my list. I'd like to see them add after this. But don't expect Auburn to go out west, barring some unforeseen circumstances. It definitely won't be for Oregon. I wouldn't think it'd be for Washington. Maybe an Oregon State, or maybe we've kind of done Washington State recently, so I don't suspect that either. Oregon State, maybe a Stanford. Stanford might be a good one to go out west for again. But yeah. I want Florida State revenge. We got 2 Florida States back to back. Yeah, I think if you're going to bring a non-conference opponent that's familiar, that is one that would make Auburn fans ecstatic. The history there, the revenge factor, the recency of it. Yeah. But does it look good on your resume? I mean, I will be honest with you. I think currently a win over Cal looks better than a win over Florida State. So obviously if they put this on the schedule, it's way off in the future. Doesn't really matter. But Miami is a pretty good pick, I think, for the most part. If we're not going to talk about East teams, I think you throw Texas, Oklahoma State in there. Not Kansas State. Nebraska would be fun. I'd like to see that one. Maybe Michigan State. That'd be a fun one. Just throwing out names here at this point. But Florida State would definitely. I think if I had a top picks right now, it'd be like Florida State, Notre Dame, Stanford. That'd probably be my top 3 right there. Georgia Tech now. I think it's safe to play Georgia Tech now. No more triple option. It's pretty dangerous for Auburn to play back in the day, wasn't it? But there's a lot of options out there, and then there's the whole Miami thing as well. Texas is not bad. I don't know. I'd like it, but it doesn't get me the most excited in the world. All right, we're going to wrap up the show here, as always, but go ahead and get your last-minute comments, questions, anything fair game. Please do check some of these links out in the description, whether you want to listen to the podcast. Support us on the Booster Club, $1 a month, also listed in the chat window. PayPal donations, and there is the TeePublic store, where if you've been to the Wednesday night live streams, you know what War Dustbuster means. The t-shirt is now available. It is there. You wanted it. I provided it. No questions asked. I cannot tell you how awkward it was when my wife walked in the room and saw, what are you developing over there? Don't ask, I said. Just don't ask. So I hope some of you guys will consider going over there and checking it out, and at least buying it, because it cost me a little bit of awkwardness. But there you go. I remember Chiswick saying he wouldn't want Georgia Tech scheduled because of that offense. Yeah, it's so finicky and so nuanced. Excuse me. It is hard to just pin down. And thankfully they don't do that anymore. Now, I think Georgia Southern does it still. Am I wrong on that, guys? I think Georgia Southern does it, but obviously their talent level is nowhere near Georgia Tech's. So you don't really have to worry about that as much. But it causes quite a bit of a... So there you go. All right, I think that's going to be it for today, guys. Thank y'all so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. It looks like the stream's kind of fading on us anyway. But hopefully we'll see you guys very soon. Make sure you're tuned in here and you have the notification bell and the subscribe button hit. Like that button. Hit the like button on the way out. And hopefully I'll see you guys again very soon. Thanks for staying up late with me, for those that you were live. Till I talk again. War Eagle.